a bit about what's going on in your world. Before we dive in, I wanted to know, and you probably noticed by seeing the agenda, we have a short list of Missoula County rock stars joining us this morning, or this evening, including Melissa Gordon and Rob Edwards and Cindy Farr. And we should hear some great stuff there. I'm looking forward to it as well, and appreciate that you all have taken some time out of your evening to join us. So without further ado, first on the list is Rob Edwards from Aging Services, who's going to do a little update.
And I think he is unable to join us last minute. He had some computer problems.
Oh, okay. Well, that means that, you know, so Melissa, he will not be a tough act for you to follow. So Melissa, you're up next then to do an update on grants and community programs.
Hi, my name is Melissa Gordon, and I'm the program manager for the Grants and Community Programs Division of the county's Community and Planning Services Department. And I'm here tonight with my colleague, Nancy Rattel. And we are excited to have the opportunity to talk with you a little bit more about the work that we do, and also to outline some potential areas of collaboration for the future. The Grants and Community Programs Division is made up of a team of 5. It's myself and 4 grants administrators. And very generally, we work to improve the quality of life across Missoula County. And we do this by identifying needs and then finding resources to meet those needs. So in the last fiscal year, which ended on June 30th, 2020, we managed a grant and loan portfolio of about $6.4 million. And I'm not gonna list every grant and loan that makes up that $6.4 million because Nancy has come up with a wonderful tool that's a visual depiction of the work that we do. It's a story map, and I'm going to speak very generally about the work that we do, and then Nancy will dive a little bit deeper into the programs that are located in your communities. So Nancy is going to get really fancy and take over the screen.
So I just have to say, I've never done this, so please bear with me and holler if it's looking weird, because fingers crossed. Okay, here we go, I think.
Here we go. All right. So as you can see, the story map is located in, or is organized into different tabs, and they are across the top of the screen. We're on the What We Do tab right now. And if Nancy can click on the first pie chart under the What We Do section, I will go through that just really briefly for you. So that's a look at the $6.4 million portfolio that I talked about. And you can see that the work that we do is organized into 3 general areas. The first is management of county funds, and this involves the grant making process. Every spring, we lead a competitive grant application process for county funds, and then we manage those awards throughout the fiscal year. So that is, gosh, I can't see without my glasses. What's the amount? A little over $2.7 million. We also manage federal, state, and foundation funds, and wide variety of external resources that are coming to the county. We manage grants that help to address homelessness. We manage public facilities grants. It just runs the full gamut. And in the last federal fiscal year, we managed just over $3 million in federal, state, and foundation funds. And then finally, there's a slice of the pie that is grant acquisition. And in the last fiscal year, that was at $566,539. And since July 1st, we've been notified that we've been successful in bringing in an additional $412,000 for the county. And if you go to the next pie chart, please, within that section, Nancy.
Whoop.
There you go. That's just a breakdown across county budget categories. It takes the 6.4 million and divides it by category. So you can see The bulk of the work that we do is in community development, and that's followed pretty closely by human services, and then it also public safety, public works, culture and recreation, and criminal justice. So that's kind of the big picture view of what we do. And I'm going to let Nancy walk you through the rest of the story map. And again, she'll highlight some programs that are taking place in your communities.
All right, thanks, Melissa. So I'm hoping everyone can hear me. It just seems weird to be talking to a screen. So again, my name is Nancy Rattel. I'm a grants administrator. I have had the good fortune of working with the county for over 14 years. And during that time, so this is a little background about what the story map is. During that time, in grants, as Melissa talked about, we've got $6.4 million in all these categories, but those are numbers. We were always wanting in the grants division somehow to explain, well, what does that mean for the community? And so a couple years ago, we had the GIS specialist in CAPS, Andrew Stickney. We were talking with him about it, and he was saying, he suggested the story map. And so what I want to talk about the story map, and it's on our website, is that to me, it merges the quantitative, what we do, the county management of funds and the acquisition of funds, which are numbers and programs, and then the map aspect of it. So you'll see on the screen, I'll go to the county funds managed. Okay, so you'll see the tabs along the top, I hope. And this is the county funds that we manage that Melissa referenced. And so on the left-hand side, the range, I think there's 46 that are listed, the programs that are supported through the county funds. Now on the right-hand side is the map. And so, for example, I'll point, and you'll see can you see these little numbers on each of the little program pages? Yeah. Those are associated with the map, the flags on the map. So let me just, I'll just pick Bonner. We'll look at Bonner and we'll say, oh, look at that. There's the Boys and Girls Club has a program and serves some of the kids there in Bonner. As we move forward, another one is Missoula Aging Services. It's just like, look at that. The county supports the underage program in Bonner. So that's the story. When we talk about the story map, to me, it's the melding of the programs, the funding with the maps. I won't belabor it with these other tabs, the federal, state, and the grants acquired, because that's not the purpose of why we're talking to you. Why we were thinking of, why is this relevant to you, right? You all are up in Condon and Sealy and Lolo, and so, if you just have a hankering to go to the story map, which I think Sarah was going to be sending out the link on that, is if you're saying, well, what are you offering in Lolo? That's where the map comes in. See, we're over here. And so just go, oh, what's going on in Lolo? So you click on that flag, and then that's where you can get the detailed information of the program. So for example, Lolo, there is the Missoula Aging Services, the county contracts with them to help provide these underage meals. So in this page, as you scroll down, we have this template that talks a bit about the program, what the funding is, and the source of the funds, because again, we have various funding sources through the county, and then a little bit about the agency and a link to that agency so you can get additional information. So again, going to the map over here, like say Frenchtown, what's going on in Frenchtown? Oh, you can see more detail with Frenchtown. And if I move the map, you'll see good old Sealy. Hey, yay, Sealy. I used to live in Sealy for 5 years, so it's kind of near and dear to my heart. So up in Sealy, again, services are being provided, meals to the under age 60. So I hope that kind of covers just really what we wanted to introduce to you about the range of services and the funds that we manage and how this map helps hopefully explain the distribution of that.
Great. Thank you, Nancy. So as I mentioned earlier, a big part of what we do is work with organizations and coalitions and communities to assess what the needs are in each community. And it was our intention this last spring, as part of our annual community needs assessment, to go to each community council meetings and to have conversation with you all so that we can begin to learn more about what's happening in your community and what your needs are. And so that we can then work with you on finding county funds that might be a match for those needs, or beginning to do grant searches so that we can help find resources to meet those needs. So that did not happen. That is something that we would very much like to pursue in the future, if and when we are able to do that. And that might be through remote meetings like this with community councils, or hopefully at some point in person. We also do a survey on an annual basis, which some of you may have seen. It did go out to all the community councils, and it went out through the CAPS newsletter and the county newsletter. It's a community needs assessment survey that helps us to shape our applications for funding to the state. It is very likely that you will hear from us, hopefully in the near future, because the state has COVID-19 funds, their community development block grant funds through the CARES Act, and the state will be releasing the application process and more information on those funds sometime this fall. And at that point in time, we will reach out to you, and we're going to want to hear about the most pressing needs in your community as they relate to the response to COVID-19. So we're really looking forward to establishing more of a relationship with all of the community councils in the future so that we can continue to serve the entire county. Last month, you heard from my colleague Cindy Kennedy about the Brownfields Assessment Program. That's another opportunity for us to work with some of the outlying areas. She has spoken, she went to all the community council meetings, and she again sought input last month at this meeting. So I just want you to know that we are a resource for you, and we're very interested and excited to work more closely with you all in the future. And then finally, we reference the competitive application process for county funds that happens each spring. That's something that we'd like to do additional outreach to community councils and communities in general about, so that you're aware of that opportunity. Right now, we publish that opportunity in the Pathfinder and in the Missoulian, but we'd like to have more of a dialogue about that with you in the spring. So that is us in a nutshell, and Nancy and I are happy to answer any questions that you might have about the work that we do or how we might work together in the future.
And the link to that map is in the chat box if anyone wanted that. So it's in the chat box of the meeting.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks a lot, Melissa. And please, you guys, if you have questions, throw them out there. We can do Q&A at the end too, but these guys hit on a lot of information, and it can be kind of overwhelming, but they're also super affable, open, friendly people. So take advantage that they're with us. Ask away. You want to know about where this one came from or how it's spent.
I'll say that Melissa and Nancy, you are welcome to join the Bonner Council any second Monday at 7 o'clock. We are on Zoom, and be more than happy to get you the contact. Any time you want to join, we'll make room for you.
Thank you.
And I want to steal Bert's thunder. This is Kevin from Lolo. Hi, Nancy. How are you doing?
Hi, Kevin.
Good to see you. Well, you're also welcome to come participate at our meeting anytime. Just let us know. So.
Thank you.
You're a copycat, Kevin.
Well, I've been called worse. So.
This is Lee Bridges from the East Missoula Community Council. We meet the second Tuesday of every month, and we are doing our meetings virtually through Zoom. You are welcome to attend our meetings as well. If you'd let me know in advance, I'll put you on our agenda.
I'm gonna just throw it out there just because I know these guys are busy, et cetera. If you invite them, it's gonna make it easier. So invite them, and then they'll know what the time is, and they can fit it in. And so if you can, please do.
I'll put their email in the chat as well. So
oh, thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Melissa, can you post your email address?
Yeah, Sarah just very kindly offered to do that in the
Okay.
chat section of the meeting.
Okay.
Is there anyone out there who absolutely does not want Nancy or Melissa to join? Maybe that's the question.
Gosh, Dave.
Good work, Nancy, Melissa.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Okay, then we'll jump to the next thing, and we still have plenty of time to ask questions at the end. Oh, did I run somebody over, Sarah?
So Josh, we skipped Cindy Farr's health update.
Oh, shoot. Man, sorry about that. God, I can't seem to quite get this right no matter how hard. Cindy, please jump in.
Hi, everybody. So I have a couple of things that I'm going to share with you so that let me know. Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you guys see some charts? Okay, so this is our I get this daily update from my situation unit every single day. And I wanted to share it with you because we're definitely starting to see an alarming trend of having an increase in cases. We currently are at a total of 656 cumulative cases. We got 17 new since yesterday. You guys are the first to hear this, but I got a message at the end of the day that that number is going to be over 90 tomorrow. 90 new cases in one day is a record for us. It super bypasses by, I think, 3 times the number of cases we've gotten in a day so far. So as of today, though, we have 162 active cases, 3 deaths. We're currently monitoring over 720 close contacts. We are starting to see an increase in hospitalizations here in Missoula County. These charts, this one is showing us the new cases as they come in by day, and then kind of the 7-day rolling average is what that line is. And then this chart is the active COVID-19 cases in Missoula County for the last 30 days. You can see from these charts at the bottom that the vast majority of the cases that we have coming in are in under 30-year-olds, so mainly in the 20 to 29-year-olds. With 22% in the 10 to 19 range. We don't have any active cases that are under the age of 10 right now. So we are definitely targeting some messaging there. In this chart, you can see that about half of our cases have been a close contact to a confirmed case. And that's what we want to see. We want to see that continue to be the case, because what that means is that we're able to get that contact investigation done, get those contacts into quarantine. And it also means that those contacts are actually listening to us and staying in quarantine, and the isolated cases are staying isolated and not continuing that spread. So let me stop sharing that screen and I will share another one. This one is the report that I give to all Missoula County superintendents. I run this report every week. And I'm just gonna go through and kind of give you a little bit of an overview. So our average 7-day positivity rate, which means if we look at the number of tests that are being done and then how many are coming back positive, has jumped significantly in the last week, up to 5.88%, which is definitely indicating that upward trend. Our R value is, this is our rolling 14-day R value, and this gets updated 2 or 3 times a week, but basically it's still going to have a 14-day lag period. So this is what our R value was back on September 5th. And I was told by my epi guy that we can expect that by the end of this week that we're going to be higher than we've seen since the beginning of June. So that's a pretty alarming. That's a pretty alarming thing, because what that means is that, you know, the R value is how many people actually get infected for each case that has the disease. And so what we really want is for that R value to remain below 1. That tells us that we have a good handle on the outbreak. Whenever it starts getting over 1.2 or 1.3, then we're starting to lose control of that. So only 22% are, that's actually from yesterday, but today's number is 22% are in the 10 to 19-year-olds. So this gives us our COVID-19 incidence in Missoula County age groups per 100,000 population. So you can see from this graph that we're definitely seeing a big jump in those 20 to 29-year-olds. They've always kind of held the lead, but they were starting to lose that lead, and now they're back to being way in the lead. So this next chart is, it's what we call our epi curve, and the cases in this gray shaded area may not all be counted yet because of that incubation period. And we just saw that chart and that one as well. So that's kind of where we're at. We're definitely seeing an increase in cases. I can tell you that in the under 30 age ranges, that does encompass our, elementary, middle, high school, and college age groups. And we are seeing an increase in the number of cases associated with the University of Montana. What we are not seeing is we're actually not seeing that associated with in-classroom learning. What we're seeing is that it's basically coming from extracurricular activities. So people are hanging out with their friends. They are, doing different kinds of athletic events, and that's where we're actually seeing that increase occurring. It's not actually occurring in the school classroom setting through all of the grade levels. So that's what I have, and I would like to open it to questions.
Yeah, do you have any idea or guess as to why we have the sudden increase?
So I think that there's a few reasons that we're seeing such a big increase. The university is back in session, schools are back in session. In addition, there's a lot of fall type events that are going on. I mean, we're just over 2 weeks after the Labor Day holiday, and we know that a lot of our cases, some not a lot, but enough of our cases were associated with different events that occurred over the Labor Day weekend, whether that was family gatherings or barbecues with their friends. Primarily what we're seeing though is that people are really good at being using those protective behaviors and managing that 6-foot social distancing, wearing the masks. They're doing all that when they're out in public, but when they're with their friends or their family who don't live in their household or their coworkers, that they tend to stop doing that. And I think that anecdotally, what we're hearing is that they figure, well, they're around these people all the time, and so they don't need to worry. But those people are also around other people all the time too, which is why we are seeing this kind of spread.
Do you have a breakdown between university cases versus non-university cases, or university-related cases, if you will? This is Bert.
Yeah, Bert, we have that posted on our website, and we were updating that once a week, but now we're actually updating that every day because we've seen such a significant increase in the number of cases associated with the university. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to say is thank you. I hate bothering you the times that I have bothered you, but the response has been fantastic. So. Yeah, no worries at all. You guys can always reach out.
Hey, Cindy, how many hospitalizations did you say we have now?
I believe we currently have 5. So we have 2 Missoula County residents that are hospitalized and 3 non-Missoula County residents that are hospitalized.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Cindy, I had a quick question for you. Are there certain benchmarks that you're watching that if we're crossed, you guys would change what you're doing in terms of regulation? What would those benchmarks be, and what might those changes be?
Yeah, so there's a few different things that we're watching. When it comes to the university, we meet with them daily, except for on Wednesdays, because I have another conflicting meeting on Wednesdays. But we look at, for the university population, we're looking at their quarantine and isolation capacity, as well as, how much spread that we're seeing and where are we seeing it. And so some of the things that we've talked about doing with that population is you know, maybe we make a recommendation that all extracurricular events get canceled, and that the university doesn't hold any kind of social events, so that we can try and, you know, minimize the spread. And so when we start getting close to that capacity, that's the benchmarks that we're looking at for that. They've also talked about possibly asking the university students to do a voluntary stay at home, where they only leave their dorm room or their, you know, their place of residence in order to attend classes, get food, get medical care. I don't know how well that would work. I don't know how they would enforce that, but they're definitely discussing that. When we're looking at the community level, what we're watching are how many of these things are happening associated with events, how many are happening associated with, for example, football games, because that's been the big topic of conversation the last week or two. And we're also looking at hospital capacity, and we're looking at more than just the number of hospitalizations. I actually get, I have access to a web-based program platform where hospitals put in the number of hospital beds that they have available, how many ventilators they have available, how many, you know, how much PPE they have. And so if we start seeing a crush on our healthcare system, then we're going to have to start thinking about, you know, different ways that we can pull back and implement more restrictions. And for those of you who live in our county, I'm sure you know that Ellen and I are not scared to do that if that's what we think we need to do to protect our citizens, because, you know, we need to be able to protect the people that are the most vulnerable. And while the 20-year-olds seem to be the ones that are getting it the most because they have the most social interaction, they could very easily pass it on to more vulnerable members of our populations as well.
Thanks a lot.
I was noticing that Missoula County Public Schools was looking at implementing phase 2, which means 5 days a week in classroom, starting maybe as early as November 2nd. Concerns on that, considering the fact that, yeah, right now it seems like in-classroom work is working because it's not happening in the classroom, probably because half the size, and being smart about the social distancing and small classroom sizes. Concerns on that and thoughts?
Yeah. So we actually, I meet with all of the county superintendents every other week, and I send out the report, the data report, to all of the county superintendents every week. And I've met individually with several of them who are trying to figure out if they need to, you know, if they should be going into more in classroom learning, or at what point they should. And at this point, I think November is far enough out that we can definitely kind of keep an eye on things between now and then and see if it's going to continue to get worse, and, you know, make recommendations based on where it's at that time. I know that Target Range School today was going to try and make a decision about whether or not they should go back to go to full in-class learning as early as next week or possibly the week after. And we agreed that she needs to wait for a couple of weeks and see what's happening with cases over the next couple of weeks, just because we are seeing such a dramatic increase right now.
So basically, the school board decision last night for MCPS is really a tentative. It's not a decision. That can be changed at any time. In terms of families trying to make plans or change plans, really not, because we just don't know. There's a lot of discussion about that November date and kids going back 5 days a week. And that may or may not happen. I mean, getting above 5% in the positivity rate is very, 5 times what it should be, is what I'm seeing. And that doesn't gel with putting your child in school 5 days a week, full class size of 30 kids in a room.
Right. And that's, yeah, they are definitely going to, I know that Dr. Watson is definitely keeping a close eye on these numbers. And I think that if we're still seeing spread at the rate that we are, I mean, like I said, today we got in our highest number of cases in one day as of yet, and it was 3 times as high as we've seen so far. And it's over 90 cases in one day, which I can tell you is a lot for my team. To begin contact tracing and case investigation. But if we're seeing those kind of numbers happening, then I do think that they will likely be reconsidering that decision, you know, before we get to that November time. And it's hard. It's hard for families You know, it's hard for parents to try to plan what they're going to do. You know, some families are having to have one person work and only have a one person income for their family because they have to be at home with children. And I totally get that it's hard, but the last thing that we want is to start seeing the numbers of deaths that we've seen in multiple other counties in our state and across the nation. So we definitely want to take as many protective measures as we can.
Yeah. So you would make a recommendation to school boards, but the school boards have the decision. Can you shut down the schools, or is that just a governor decision like you did in the spring?
That is just a governor decision because local school boards have the authority over the decisions that are made in their schools. I think that we can order temporary closures. So if we needed to have them shut down a school because we felt like there was a really large exposure in that school and we needed time to collect seating charts and figure out who, you know, like get that contact tracing done, then we could order a closure for a few days. We likely wouldn't ever get to the point of having to order a closure because we work really closely with the schools and they would just say, okay, we feel like we need to close in order to make sure that we're able to assist you in the contact tracing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is there a way that you or some other authority can actually force people to wear masks? Because a lot of people, you know, hang out and don't wear masks, which is, you know, unbelievably stupid.
The governor would have the ability to mandate that. He actually did. I don't know if y'all saw his press conference on Tuesday, but he basically said that in his meetings with the vice president and the COVID task force at the federal level, that basically they're saying that when you're seeing the amount of spread like we're seeing here in Montana, that they should start thinking about implementing fines for people who are caught not wearing a mask. And he basically said, we're not doing that.
In Germany, it's $500 if you don't wear a mask. Everybody wears a mask.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Klaus. My son lives in Berlin, and he said that's one of the things that made everybody wear a mask because nobody wants to pay the fine.
Yeah,
that's my.
There are other countries as well. Yeah.
One good point. My son-in-law and his brother are both teachers in elementary school in Helena, and they were fascinated by how easily the little kids wear their mask and keep them on and stay in the room. They don't go out to lunch. They don't go out for anything. And they keep their mask on. Unfortunately, it appears that teenagers can't do that.
Yep, that's anecdotally, that's what I've heard as well, is that the littles are really good at following the direction. They're really pliable. They're willing to just kind of do what they're told to do. And the older they get, the harder it is to get them to do it.
I know I'm talking a lot, but a little humor here. There was a cartoon not too long ago of a mother and her son, and she's looking at him and she says, oh, that's not the mask you wore to school yesterday or this morning. He said, oh no, Tommy's was cooler and he had already traded with Jimmy.
Oh my gosh.
Cindy Farr, got a question for you.
Yep, go fire away.
Okay, I'm with the West Valley Council, and I heard rumored yesterday that there was 2 cases in grade school at Frenchtown, and I don't know how many cases in middle school. Have they reported that to you?
So we have definitely been seeing cases popping up in a lot of our schools, and so yeah, we're totally on top of it.
Okay,
I don't know any details, but I do know that we're getting reports.
All right, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions?
Well, then, if there's no other questions, I guess we just wanted to, after that uplifting report, as you guys can imagine, we're The county is encouraging folks to all of our committee meetings are virtual. And our county boards are also virtual for the foreseeable future. So if community councils need help going virtual, I think Sarah will put something in the chat, her contact information, to help you guys with if you have any technological issues. The county can help you with that. And then I know there had been some concerns about bylaws, and then just recognizing that we're in an emergency, so there's some leeway there. So as long as you are posting and the public knows how they can attend the meeting virtually, then you're going to be fine. And then also know that the Community and Planning Service folks are working on bylaws so that you guys can take them for your councils. And then also, if it's impossible for you to hold virtual meetings, prepare for in-person meetings and work with the health department to prepare a plan for up to 50 folks. And again, that might be in the chat as well. 258 info, and they can help you work on your plan. Yeah, are there any questions, or are people struggling with holding their community council meetings? Great.
All right. So then, thanks, Juan. And the next piece of our agenda, if I get it right, is kind of the open Q&A. And I think Sarah will just lead us through the roll call. And if anybody wants to ask questions, you're really welcome to. So off we go. If I got that right.
Good job, Josh. You did.
All right, thanks, Sarah.
Yep. I think tonight we'll try it a little different. We have a representation from everyone except for Evro tonight, which is awesome. We're excited you're all here. I thought we could just go through by council rather than go through the list of names. So first, and we'll do it in alphabetical order with the councils. With Bonner, we have 2 Bonner Milltown members on, Bert and Emily. Either of you have a question?
Yeah, I would like to know when I can get with all 3 commissioners and sit down and talk about our bylaws that have been on hold since April. So,
Bert, I think we just gotta schedule it. I don't see any obstacle there.
How about tomorrow morning about 9:30?
So we'll have to have Kyla look at our schedule, but I can make a note and ask her to reach out to you and make that happen.
Let's do that. I know what the issues are. I think I've got resolution for most of them. The big one is going to be you guys coming up with rules for virtual meetings, but we're having them. So, you know, we're doing it our way, as Frank Sinatra would say.
Well, we'll set that up. Sarah, would you join us on that, being our community engagement person who in the know at the moment anyway, and realize there's a handoff in process. You would, what do you think?
I'd be glad to work with just Sarah if it'd be, you know, if you want to do that.
So Bert, Lori Heyer and I are working on the bylaws. We just haven't got the final draft together yet. So it's in the works. We're working on it. There's just a lot of moving pieces right now that I know Lori sent you an email earlier this week. So, but
yes.
If you want a meeting with the commissioners.
Well, how about just you and Lori?
Okay.
There you go. Perfect. Problem solved. Well done, guys.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I had. Thanks.
And before we move on, Sarah, I just want to interject here. If folks are worried about their bylaws being out of sync with allowing for virtual meetings, I would say don't worry about that, and that we are in a state of emergency still, and I think you can comfortably take your cues from how the Board of County Commissioners is operating our meetings, and we are not doing in-person public meetings right now. So don't feel like even if, and I think it's probably a good idea, what Bert is suggesting is that there be language in bylaws that allow for, in extraordinary circumstances, having virtual meetings, but don't feel as if that needs to be, or that lack of language in your bylaws right now needs to be a straitjacket or anything for how you operate business.
No, there's no anxiety in Bonner on that. The way we looked at it was there was nothing in the bylaws that ruled it out. So we were able to go do it.
There you go.
Thanks, Dave. Yep. And so Lori and I are in the works and trying to put together all the pieces of how to move forward. And we want to do it right the first time, so we're not having the conversation again in a year of reworking bylaws. So it's just a new adventure that we're all on right now with these virtual meetings, and we just want to make sure we get it right. So I apologize, it's taking longer. We've had a lot of shifting parts recently in our office, so we are working on it, Bert, and we will meet with you if you would like to meet with just Lori and I and talk about it further.
I never had a doubt you were working on it. And I think getting it right the first time is a novel concept.
We aim high here.
Yeah, thanks. You know, the Japanese have a saying, do it right for the last time, or fix it for the last time.
Great saying. Emily, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I have nothing to add. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. From East Missoula, we have Lee Bridges and Lisa Thomas. Do either of you have a question or comment?
There's just a little squash left over, so I'm going to use it. It's just a dish, mostly vegetables.
Josh is cooking.
Josh, your mic's on.
Josh, mute yourself, bud. Anyway, I pretty much parrot what Bert just said. He and I have had conversations, and like I told him, sometimes it's better to beg forgiveness than ask permission. So we're holding virtual meetings as well until we're told otherwise. And we're waiting, and I'm just following Bert's lead. I trust he's going to do everything that we need in the bylaws, and I'll just patiently wait until we receive our new marching orders on what we can do for our meetings. Because right now, currently, we're doing Zoom. We are being able to, rather than have to buy our own subscription to Zoom, we are actually piggybacking on a community member who has a membership with Zoom already, and she's letting us use her account. So it's working great for us. And I think that's really all I've got to update on.
Thanks, Lee. Lisa, did you have anything?
No, not really. I really appreciate the county health report. That was very helpful.
All right, over to Lolo. Kevin?
Yeah, there's my camera. Lolo's pretty excited today. Last night we passed a bond levy to build a new school. So we're pretty excited about that. As the news story said today, third time was the charm on that. So
that's amazing. Good job.
That was really needed. So we're excited about that. The council was, we did a really good job of playing neutral parts and just helping with information. So that's all we got in Lolo. So we're happy.
Nice job. All right, down to Seeley. Klaus, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, first I want to say that this was a really useful meeting. I mean, that was terrific information. So thanks for holding it. The only comment I have is I don't understand this. Well, I don't want to call it an obsession, but this focus on the bylaws. I can't think of anything in our bylaws that prohibits virtual meetings. So I have no intention to change our bylaws or suggest that we change our bylaws.
Klaus, we go through our bylaws every 2 or 3 years, and we've had some changes that had nothing to do with virtual meetings. We had other changes.
Well, our bylaws are perfect, so we don't have to worry about it.
Thanks, Klaus. Tom and Celie, do you have anything?
Well, I might as well ask my question I do every time, because we still have a lot of tourists up here, and we're keeping our visitor center and museum open daily through this month, possibly a bit longer. And with what Cindy said about the spike, and I noticed of the hospitalizations, it's about 50-50 between in-state and out-of-state. And we do know there was, I think, 1 or 2 positive tests up this way. If we have an out-of-stater or out-of-county person who's symptomatic, who comes to our visitor center, can we refer them to the health department, or do we still send them off to a private location?
So my understanding is that we would still recommend that they go to a private location to get tested, because we're using, you know, like we're trying to use the funding that we have for COVID, which is fairly limited, to supply what we need for our county residents. And so that's why when people get tested through our testing facility, they get tested for free. So we would recommend that they go to one of the walk-in clinics to get tested. And the ones that I know that are doing the testing is Frenchtown Clinic. You can get in as a walk-in at Partnership Health Center. Even if you're not a county resident, you can get in at Grant Creek Walk-in and First Care Northgate and Cost Care.
Great. Okay, so it's really the same as we've been doing.
Yep, and just for your own reassurance, I can tell you that we have not seen a whole lot of out of area people getting tested in Missoula County. Primarily what we're seeing are people that are contacts to cases here in Missoula County.
Got it. Right. Thanks, Cindy.
And I'm going to go back to Lolo. I think Devin wanted to say something and I missed him earlier. Devin?
Yeah, I signed on a little late. Sorry about that. And I don't know if I caught all of Cindy. I was wondering if we're classifying out-of-state students at the university as in-state or out-of-state as far as the reporting goes.
Yeah, so students who are associated with the University of Montana who are currently living in Missoula County, whether that's in the dorms or in apartments with roommates or whatever, they are being counted in our county residence numbers. And we're calling them out separately on our website every day. So we're updating our website every day with the number of cases that are University of Montana associated. And that includes students, faculty, and staff.
Okay, thanks. And Missoula Elections Office, like Kevin said, they did a great job with ballot boxes and getting ballots to everybody, and we had a higher turnout than we've ever had before. In keeping with that, I just wanted to double check and make sure when people ask, presidential ballots are due out the first week in October. We expect to see them in the mail? Yes? Okay.
Yes, the ballots will be mailed on October 9th.
Wonderful. Thanks.
All right. So up in the Swan, Ken Donovan.
Ken, you're muted.
I'll unmute you. Well, actually, I can't. So, Ken, if you hover over your screen, there should be a gray bar, and there'll be a little icon that looks like a microphone. We can see you. Now, if you hover your mouse over your screen, there'll be a gray bar pop up. And there's a little icon that looks like a microphone. You click on that. We can't hear you, Ken. I'm going to share my screen real quick. So you're going to want to click on this icon until that line goes away. And then your microphone will be unmuted. We can't hear you. So if you can get that, if you kind of just wiggle your mouse over your screen, if you get that gray bar, and then click on the microphone icon.
For what it's worth, Sarah, mine didn't work that way. My microphone's in the top right. Always.
Can you explain that? Maybe that's where Ken's is too.
Depends on the operating system.
Oh, there we go, Ken.
How's that one?
That's awesome. It's good to hear your voice.
I knew I would fix that sooner or later.
It's in the top right.
Okay. Anyway, I say we didn't really have a lot of information prepared or questions asked. I am getting some good feedback from our council and from our community about the situation here. You know, doing the, and they miss us, I think is kind of the right term. They like having meetings. They like to, you know, finding out what's going on. We've had a couple of things in our valley that have quite frankly hurt us financially. We lost one bar supper club sold, and now we have new people starting, and they're making some headway. But then our mercantile is up and running. I'm sure everyone's seen that if you've ever traveled down Highway 83. So you know we're there working hard. We're like a lot of small business, though we're looking for some help. The timber industry is they're struggling. So anyway, we're looking to just move ahead. But I would like to say one thing. When I was going through this and really struggling, and I know I was frustrating some people. And Sarah, I want to thank you personally for all the help you gave me. It was just amazing. I really enjoyed it, and well, I guess it's part of it I didn't absorb here, but anyway, you taking the time that you did was very appreciated.
You're welcome. Okay. I'm glad to see you on tonight. It's great to have you.
See me on the water. Okay.
All right. Did you have anything else, Ken?
No, that's about it.
Okay. And I think Nathan Richardson is on the line too from the Swan.
Right.
He's still on? Nathan, are you still on the line? All right. Well, that's everyone, Josh. Josh.
Hey there. I'm back. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Sarah, for running through everybody. And once again, thank you all for giving part of your evening. And special thanks to our guests, Melissa and Nancy Rattel and Cindy Farr for sharing some of what they do. And I want to reiterate, invite them to your meeting so they know a date to work with, and I'm sure they'll be glad to join you. Thanks, Juan, for passing on the info on virtual meetings. And,
hey, Josh.
If that's it, we look forward to seeing you next time.
Hey, Josh.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
this is Dave. So I just wanted to let everyone know if anyone was interested but unavailable to attend our virtual Montana Passenger Rail Summit last week. I just posted on the meeting chat the link that will take you to that page of our website, the Montana Passenger Rail Summit.org website. There is a recording on that page of last week's 3-hour summit. So in the leisure of your home, at whatever time that you have available, feel free to click on that and you can watch some of what transpired last week. We had over 300 folks across the state of Montana and across the nation actually dial in for that. So it was great attendance, and I think you'll enjoy some of the content.
Hey, Dave, since we all have so little to do, could you perhaps give a 2-minute or 3-minute summary as to what the outcome was?
Yeah, if folks want to indulge me for 2 to 3 minutes, I'd be more than happy to. So
that's an interesting subject.
Yeah, so last week we hosted the Montana Passenger Rail Summit. This was an opportunity for folks across the state to learn about our Missoula County Passenger Rail Initiative that we are collaborating with many other counties and organizations across the great state of Montana. So a big piece of that is we, along with 8 other counties, stretching from Sanders County, 630 miles to the east, all the way to Dawson County on the North Dakota border, and Webo County, I should say, on the North Dakota border, have adopted resolutions to establish what we're calling the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. This will be the governance structure that will really help move forward this attempt to restore passenger rail service to the southern tier of Montana. We lost passenger rail service back in 1979, as many of you know, and since then have been unable to travel by rail unless you travel all the way up to Whitefish or Shelby or Havre to catch a train. We believe that in the year 2020, it's time to add passenger rail back to our transportation portfolio. So this is a broad-based effort and consortium of counties from extremely rural to urban counties such as Gallatin and Missoula County involved. So we're super excited to move this forward. The Rail Authority will probably be established within the next several weeks to a month or so. Today, Granite County expressed some interest in perhaps joining us. So we are moving this train down the tracks, and we will keep you posted on events and additional updates in meetings to come.
Thanks.
You bet.
Sarah.
I have one last quick announcement. Just wanted to remind everyone that the census deadline is a week from today, September 30th. And it's a pretty big deal for rural communities to get funding for schools and many other things throughout your community. So if you could help continue to spur interest throughout your different communities and get the word out that it's just a week away, easy to do online or by phone. And all the information is in the chat bar for that as well.
That's a super important update, and for many folks in our communities, it might sound like not that big of a deal, but if we ever want to have another representative in the U.S. House, this is how folks get counted, and this is how it happens.
Thanks, Dave, and that's a great reminder, Sarah.
For Sarah and all 3 commissioners, I always get something out of these meetings. I hope we continue them for a while yet. So thank you.
Absolutely, Bert. Yeah, us too. Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that, and thanks everybody for being here.
I think it's a good thing for the councils to each know that there are other people out there like us, you know.
For sure. All right.
There's no one like you, Bert.
Well, that goes without saying, Dave.
Again,
thanks a lot.
See you all soon.
Great meeting. Thanks a lot.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Sarah, for putting this all together yet again.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Have a good night.